Welcome to episode 155 of Beyond the Brick. I'm Joshua Hanlon.
And I'm Matthew Kay.
And this episode of Beyond the Brick is brought to you by Brickmania.com. Our featured kit this week is the Civil War Napoleon gun and Confederate soldier. So if you're working on any Civil War related mocks, this is a really awesome little kit to get some cool accessories for your mock. I definitely encourage you to check this out. I'll have a link to it in the description of this video where you can see that and all the other really cool products at brickmania.com. Now, joining us on the show tonight, we're very happy to have Mark Guest, and he is working on the new Bricks and Bricks Culture magazines that will be coming out here very soon. So it's great to have you on the show, Mark.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
And if you just want to start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and your history in the LEGO community.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue I was probably a relatively unknown figure in the community up until probably last May. I do sort of tend to keep myself to myself. I've got a young family, so they occupy a lot of my time. If I'm not being a parent, then I'm generally playing with Lego. But last year I had an opportunity. I'm a freelance graphic designer, and I had an opportunity to do a company I was working with. They were fed up of all my Lego turning up at the office, and they turned around to me and said, well, why don't you do a Lego magazine? So we went into it together. We had an opportunity to get it on a shop shelf in the UK, and I launched Blocks, which you're all probably quite familiar with by now. We did a pilot issue of that, which was intended to be almost a one-off, just sort of entertaining myself, really. And the sales for that went crazy. We got pressure from the shops to do more, so we decided to go monthly with that. And since that point, I've not really looked back. I've been over to Billund quite a few times. Lots of people within Lego HQ know me. They tend not to run and hide when they see me, so I see that as a good thing. So, you know, I've hopefully made a positive impression. And obviously, it's been quite a journey because I'm now launching 2 new brands, driven again by me. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. So I feel like someone described me the other week as I've become a household name within the community, but very quickly.
Really, it's like a workhorse kind of. There's always something that you're doing, definitely.
Yeah, no, I do keep myself busy, and it's quite funny because obviously I'm launching Bricks and Bricks Culture, which goes live tomorrow night. Well, it's the launch due tomorrow night, and then on the Monday morning UK time, 9 o'clock, people will be receiving their copies. And I had someone accuse me of I must have been planning this for 12 months. The irony, the first discussions about Bricks and Bricks Culture actually started on the 22nd of January. So 22nd of January till now, we've set up a company, publishing house, and we've designed 2 products.
So you've had a very, very busy past couple of weeks, I would imagine.
Yeah, I haven't slept much, to be fair. I'll do that next year. So yeah, it's been very, very busy, but very exciting. And you know, the thing is, when you're as passionate about something like I am with Lego, it doesn't feel you can just keep going. It's only when you stop it hurts. So the key to that is just don't stop.
Mm-hmm. Sure. To keep the momentum going, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And the interesting thing is, we had I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. We've got Channel 4 television over here. It's one of our main channels. They picked up on my story in January, and they've been filming me since. And part of the reason that it's all been so quick is, foolishly, they did buy me some food, so they wooed me a little bit. They said, can you get them out for April, because our filming finishes in April. And I said, yeah, I'll be able to get one of them out. They said, no, we want both titles out. And I went, and I just because I was eating and happy, I was full of Diet Coke, and I went, yeah, go on, then I can do that. And so I committed myself quite early on. That was beginning of February. So in addition to doing it, I've had a film crew following me for the last couple of months as well, which is they slow you down somewhat, but it's been entertaining.
So is this like a one-off documentary piece that is being done about your endeavor?
Yeah, I mean basically they were doing a documentary anyway called Inside Lego.
Okay.
And they were looking for fan stories, and in their words, they said basically they've got lots of people that are building lots of stuff and they're just people that are into Lego, but they wanted sort of something to weave it all together. And obviously my journey sort of worked for them, and it sort of, people they'd already been speaking to about doing articles on, I was doing features on them for the magazine. So they decided, following me through the storyline, pulled all of their other content in the middle into it. So yeah, it's quite interesting. I think the program, they intend the program, I will be popping up throughout the hour-long program, and they're going to finish the program with me at the launch giving the speech tomorrow night. So not only have I got to speak in front of 100 people, I'm having it filmed on television as well. So I'll have to remember to mind my P's and Q's.
No pressure.
So talk about the launch. This is going to be like an actual event, right?
Yeah, no, we've actually got a big VIP room at a place called Old Billingsgate, which is a really old building on the Thames in the centre of London. There's a event going on there called the, I think it's the Yacht, Private Jet and Prestige Car Show. So it's lots of people with lots of money.
Oh.
But some of the guys I've done this project with have connections with it, and so we've managed to acquire this suite for a few hours, and so basically we've got the full VIP red carpet treatment, and everyone, we've selected 100 people from the community to come and see us, and they will get to experience bricks and bricks culture for the first time.
That's fantastic. Have you sent an invitation over to Lego's office in London?
We've got three members coming over from Finland. We've got two from the UK office coming, and we've got all the PR, all the normal PR girls coming as well. So
is Kim Thompson coming? Everyone's favorite community engagement and events coordinator. Kim?
Yeah, Kim's there.
Ah, Kim.
So he's coming over to make sure I'm behaving myself. So I went over there 4 weeks ago and presented to his boss and a couple of other senior members and himself to the whole project before I even put pen to paper, just to make sure they were happy with what we were doing. And Bricks Culture was, we was going over there not sure how they would receive Bricks Culture, because it's a very different concept. It's very, I want to say highbrow, but it's all about the innovators and creators, like your Chris McVeighs, your Mike Doyles, people like that. And they absolutely lapped it up, and yeah, they gave it the full thumbs up. So as soon as they said, yeah, that's a great idea, and it's obviously a market they've seen as well, and they felt that that market's not being served. So hopefully, we're now starting to cover a lot more demographics as well, and hopefully as well, the thought with Bricks Culture is it will bring people that are not necessarily what you deem an AFOL, but people that have an interest as Lego as a medium, and it will bring them into the community as well.
When I first heard that you had that idea to kind of split the segment, I guess, the market a little bit, it almost kind of speaks to the same way that like Lego architecture as a line is able to like penetrate into new marketplaces, where Lego's not traditionally seen. So I guess in that same way, right, it can kind of like bring more people into the fold of the Lego hobby.
Absolutely. I mean, the thinking behind it was obviously from my previous project, we were getting certain feedback where you've got the people that are saying, well, why do I want a magazine? I can read all the reviews online. What am I getting extra? But then you're also getting lots of people that aren't spending their time online and were loving the magazine. So you've got that crowd, which will happily, that Bricks will serve that crowd, and it will still be bringing exclusive content that people won't have seen.
Sure.
But the whole idea of Bricks Culture was you've got two segments of people. You've got your really hardcore AFOLs who take life very, very seriously. They take Lego very, very seriously. And they almost see other publications as almost not childish, but not up to their level, as it were. So Bricks Culture is going to communicate to them with that level. And then the second group of people are, and we've already trialed this and it does work, is almost because we're using Bricks Culture as a Lego's place in the world, if that makes sense. That's probably the best way I can describe it. So it's not just about Lego, it's about how Lego sits in the world and the community. For example, I sampled this to a guy called Oliver Webb, who's a Le Mans race driver. He has nothing to do with Lego. He appreciates Lego as a good toy. It's fun, but he doesn't collect Lego. He doesn't build Lego. And I took him the 24-hour Technics race car to him and said, "What do you think of this?" And he then started talking about it on a different level from an outside perspective. He wasn't getting hung up on pieces, colours and shapes. He was actually bringing that Lego into real world and comparing it to the car that he drives in the Le Mans race series. And it's that sort of almost bringing it into the real world. I mean, we've done a very, very interesting feature with the Quickie Mart, which I'm anticipating will upset a few people, but I like that. I like that.
Are you like taking the Quickie Mart to convenience stores, having convenience store owners comment?
I've actually shot it in a convenience store.
I want to say I've had that idea, but yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
We've got a really nice opening shot where it's literally outside. I managed to find, and it's really local to me, a little corner shop that's all bright yellow. So we've shot it on this curb with a bit of rubbish on the curb and the shop there, and just people shopping, and the Quickie Mart's there with Apu cleaning up. And so rather than just shooting it on white and just taking you around a full 360 of it, we've put it in a real world environment.
Give it some context, yes.
Exactly, yeah.
That's awesome, fantastic.
So yeah, hopefully, I'm sure it'll start tongues wagging. There'll be people moaning that they can't see a certain angle or that the colours aren't right. But I think there's other people that will really appreciate what we've done with it.
Sure.
So you mentioned there that you originally started out with blocks, and that was kind of the first magazine project you did. That was kind of the one when you first came up with the idea. What was kind of the transition like for you then from blocks to bricks and bricks culture, and what did you take away from your time working on blocks that you think you can apply now to the two new magazines?
I learned a lot. I'm sort of mentally treating blocks as a training ground for me. I did part own blocks. There was a difference in opinion of what blocks needed to evolve into. I wanted to keep it very, very focused towards the adult community, and almost start to introduce some of these bricks culture ideas into it. There's a million reasons why that couldn't be done with blocks. There's nothing wrong with blocks. It's fine. I needed to sort of complete my project, and we'd come to a ceiling, as it were, with that. I'm incredibly grateful. I got to learn a lot from blocks. I got to learn a lot about the marketplace. It's all very positive. I've learned a lot of what to do and what not to do. So I've been in publishing for 20 years, so I know magazines, I know consumers, but this was my first endeavour into the Lego world, which was a dream come true because I no longer had to hide my excessive purchasing from my wife. I could actually have it delivered to the house. It was nice.
It now has a meaning and a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. It's work, dear, honestly.
That's interesting, though, that you mentioned you've been in magazine work for so long, almost 20 years there. You said, what do you feel that like a magazine brings that you might not be able to get, using online sources like a blog or website? What would be the reason someone would want to turn to a Lego magazine instead of just visiting their Lego sites they visit online?
Well, I think there's several factors there. You'll go to a website to experience instant gratification. A magazine is a much more tactile beast, and I think anyone that's into Lego is naturally a tactile person. They like the touch, they like to feel, they like to flip. I think all of us as humans, we do like to own things. I still have this thing where, don't get me wrong, I've not got a desire to have a wall full of CDs, but I still miss getting some nice packaging. I still miss actually physically holding something rather than it all just being a pixel on my screen.
There's really something to be said for for the physicality, right, of an object, exactly. Being able to, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it, and that's where magazines can play in onto markets like this. That there is a real desire to have something to hold, something to collect as well. Let's face it, we're all collectors.
Of course.
So if you can imagine, as your collection of bricks goes along the shelf and you see it all there, sat nice with the perfect white spines, there's that collector's mentality. My job is to ensure that what I deliver on those printed pages is different to what they can get on the internet. Now, Obviously, there's an overlap with things like reviews and things like that. But what we can bring is, I will bring a journalistic twist to features and articles. I can, there's certain features we've done where I've found a sentence on the internet and I've turned that into an 8-page feature, and that's by digging deeper, looking for things. So, websites are very quick, they're very instant, but they don't dig deep, whereas magazines have got the opportunity to dig deep, find a bigger story, and also bring exclusive content. You can't underestimate that. For instance, I won't have a news section in Bricks, but I have got Bricks Solutions, where I will take topics from forums where people are perhaps either moaning about something or wondering how to solve it, and I will then deliver the whole story. To give you an example, looking behind your shoulder, Josh, with the detective's office, obviously people moaning that it's a bit small. So we've just run a feature where I said, okay, well, if you think it's small, it's actually, we've put it next to the others. It's not as small as you think it is, but if you want it bigger, and we've done it so that you buy 2, you add an extra floor, and then we've told them how they can get their money back on that second one by selling the bricks individually. So it's taken. So there you go. Not so much news. It's taking the whole story and providing a solution.
Sure, and I think that piece that you just described, the detective's office, it's like that's an evergreen content. You can read that any time of day, like a year after it was written, and it's probably still going to be relevant, as opposed to like a lot of Lego sites, sort of they're geared towards like news and the latest and the greatest. But I think like pieces that they're just good anytime. That's really I guess what you're kind of specializing in almost.
Yeah, no, that's it. Absolutely. You want someone to pick up a copy of Bricks in 12 months' time that's a year old, and they still feel they can read through it. And it's that's about sculpturing your articles properly, and just it's celebrating the scene rather than quick instant hits, which is what the websites do. So I'm celebrating being slow, you could argue.
But that it's like you said, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think you get higher quality content a lot of the time from that, and you can do things like you said with the solution to adding a floor to a modular building or something that there isn't nearly enough of that type of content out there. So there's definitely a place for that, and I think a lot of people would enjoy content like that.
Yeah, no, well, hopefully. I think they will.
So if you want to talk a little bit about some of I think you've mentioned a few people, but if you want to talk about some more of the contributors to each of the magazines and what type of stuff these people will be contributing, so if people are interested in, maybe hearing about what type of articles and things like that they can look forward to.
Well, we've got, we've got an absolute cream of the crop. I'll break it down to both titles. We've got Bricks, where we've got the likes of Hugh Millington, who runs and owns Brickset, which
gotta love Hugh.
So we're doing lots of joint ventures with him. He's working as a consultant editor with me. I've got a couple of his contributors, a guy called Captain Rex, who's Chris Pearce, who he will be covering anything of the licensed sets, anything from superheroes to Star Wars, anything like that. He's an absolute, I don't want to call him a nerd because it always sounds derogatory, but he's just a wealth of information and an absolute perfectionist who he'll probably drive me to an early grave with his perfectionism, but that's fine. We've just signed up a girl called Lucy Borton, who's she's also an absolute Star Wars nut, and it's just nice to get a female voice in the magazine to prevent us becoming this all-boys club. And it's very nice, actually. She comes at things in a very articulate way. She's got a very different perspective at looking at sets, and that's the key to our reviews. I'll never do an issue where one person's done all the reviews, and we will always look to put someone else's input into a review as well to try and, for example, one guy we've got on board is called Mark Campbell. He actually runs a lot of Lego events in the UK, and he's responsible for the Lego floor at Hanley's on Regent Street. And he is an absolute character. If you searched him on the internet, you'll find him dressed up as a pirate and all sorts of things. He's an absolute loom bag, to put it politely. But he's very much of the opinion you've always got to open your Lego, you've got to play with it, you've got to enjoy it, which is a contrast to some others that like to collect it and keep it pristine. And so we're always trying to deliver different perspectives, and we've built this team up like that. Another guy that's very key to all of this is a guy called Tim Johnson, who runs a website called
The New Elementary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's running as editor for Bricks Culture for me. And just to drop a few names into people that are going to be contributing regular to that is Mike Doyle, Chris McVeigh, James Pegram, Cole Black. We've got a couple of new big names coming in as well. So all these guys that create these amazing pieces of work are all going to be working within our title and contributing. So, and the door's always open. If someone comes to us and says, I can do this, I've done that, or I'd like to do this, it's always open. And that's the whole thing. We want to be a centre of the community. I don't want people to see us as a brand or a product that they buy and they look at. I want them to interact with us. I want them to feel like they can have a say. You know, we know the Lego community is not shy in coming forward.
Of course not.
So we want them to have a say. We want them to have a part in it. This is for them as well as much for me. So they can have a part of it if they want.
And to have such a really broad array of contributors, just that's a fantastic selection. It's like you're not really limiting yourself to like a select group of 4 or 5 people, you know, sort
Absolutely
of. Just,
not. Absolutely
that's
not.
fantastic in my mind.
We've got 3 other people which are waiting for me to call them back, who are from different parts of the world as well, who will be bringing us different content from there. And one of them's based in the middle of Billund, which is quite nice.
Convenient location for a Lego.
Could be very handy. Could save me a few airfares, that could.
Well, that sounds like a great group of contributors, yeah, and many of those people, as you listed them off, we've had a lot of them on the show, some incredible builders there, so definitely should be seeing a lot of quality content from them. That should be really cool.
Absolutely. So,
Cool.
we're just running as well. One thing you'll find in the issue when it comes out on Monday is we're running a Build Your Dinosaur competition, and we're going to try and get as many people as we can to create a dinosaur. If they can use whatever bricks they like, it can look as wacky or as realistic as they like. And we've actually done a deal with a paleontologist at the Natural History Museum in London, and he's going to judge the winner of the competition to win some Jurassic World sets.
Now, is the judge going to base it off of a realism, or is it artistic creativity?
He's going to base it off what he likes the best. No judgment on your Lego building skills or what bricks you've used. It's just literally, we're taking it to a guy that is paid to like dinosaurs.
That's my kind of contest.
So yeah, feel free to submit your entries if you get 5 minutes to build a dinosaur. Let us know.
Awesome, sounds good. So I guess that would fall under the category, like you were saying earlier, of kind of bringing Lego into more of the real world, than kind of bringing in other people like that normally might have nothing to do with Lego, but you can do a contest like that and bring them in and get some outside opinions on it.
Absolutely, we will do the core stuff, but also it's about just expanding it into these wider communities. There's lots of people out there doing lots of things with using Lego. In fact, this particular guy, one of his colleagues, they've built a Lego contraption to inspect insects because they couldn't physically buy any proper made kit that would allow them to rotate an insect 360 when they're studying it. So they built one out of Lego, and they're using it in their laboratory.
You can use Lego for anything. It's true.
That's exactly it, and it's about finding those people that are doing things like that.
Mm-hmm. That is awesome. So something else I wanted to make sure we asked you about was where the magazine will be available. Is this going to be something that's just online? Will you get this in physical stores worldwide, or how's that going to work?
The initial plan is what we call direct to market. So you'll have to order it through our website. When you order a copy, you will naturally get a free digital copy as well. But you can just, if postage becomes an issue depending on your location, you can just get the digital copy. Going forward, the whole reason this is one of the things when you're asking me what have I learned from my previous project, is to start putting it into a wide range of shops. You start to limit what you can physically do, and you start to limit your cash flow. It's very, very expensive to put it on a supermarket shelf. and there's certain restrictions which don't allow you the freedom to move the product around as you so wish. So the initial thoughts are we're direct to market. We've got a couple of specialist bookstores which are pretty large in the UK who are looking to stock it. We're in discussions with those at the moment, and we're actually making inroads into America as well, setting up some agents who can distribute it around America for us. But the current plan is not to put it into the shop shelves, just so that we can keep the price down. I mean, for our postage rates are massively cheaper than what they were on blocks because we don't have the overhead of the shops.
So this is just from your previous venture. This is relevant to that, but kind of relevant to what we're talking about right now. I was in a local bookseller, a Barnes & Noble's location actually, and I ran into a copy of Blocks. This was about like 2 weeks ago, and wouldn't you know, it was $16.95 USD. So
Wow.
that it's like there really is something to your point about the whole, the cost of putting it on a shelf and all that stuff. It does add up, yeah.
Well, I mean, roughly, to put it, you're looking at a minimum of around £3,000 just to put it on the shelf. That's before you've printed it or anything. That's per month. So that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
that's a lot of 4.99s to sell.
Oh yeah, volume, right? It's a volume game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Then you start finding yourself. You start to affect your product because you're focusing on volume rather than quality.
Yeah.
And that's you build it slowly. If you see us in the Barnes and Noble, it means we're doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
Because we will do it eventually. We won't do it straight away. We're not just going to rush in. We're going to concentrate on doing the product correctly.
Yeah. And I think most of your core, audience or whatever, they'll be able to find you if you place yourself correctly online. I would imagine, right?
Absolutely. And, with the network of people we're working with and the contributors we're working with, obviously they're all going to be shouting about their work anyway with us. So it's going to be no trouble to find us. And, I think it works out about £11 if you want a copy sent from here to America. So you can still buy it from us for £11. That is about $16, I think.
Yeah. It's not unreasonable, terribly unreasonable. So
it's the postman that costs you the money there. It's not anything else.
It's true. It's true. And I think also having people online allows you to gain a subscriber base, right?
That's
As
right.
opposed to just walk-up sales. So I guess that's like a benefit.
We can do much stronger market research. When it comes to things like the digital edition, we will know what pages people are looking at for how long. So
True.
We can really gauge as to the audience as to what they're enjoying or what they're not liking, and then we can carve the content up to sort of be more to people's tastes as well. It's all very well me sitting in an office going, "Oh, I like this. I'm going to do this," but if the rest of the world doesn't like it, then it serves us very well, and it's the way that independent publishing's going. The magazines that are surviving do it like this.
Definitely. Yeah, I think to launch a magazine in today's age, you definitely have to have your strategy down pat.
Absolutely.
Very, very good.
Yeah. So we've covered maybe a few of these already, but if you could maybe elaborate a little bit on this, what are some of the biggest challenges you face when putting together a magazine project like this? Obviously, you've got a fair amount of people involved, you've got the printing of it and all of that, and for when you run into some of these big challenges, what are some of the solutions you do? I'm sure some of the people watching would be interested in hearing how you're planning to overcome some of these big issues that might come up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the. The biggest issue you have is time. You've effectively, if you think about, if you work backwards, say the magazine comes out on the 1st of the month, which means it needs to be at the printers 7 days before that, which means you then got 3 weeks to write it, design it, sub it, and get it ready. And then you've got to try and tie that in with things that are actually physically happening. And that's one of the biggest challenges. If we know, like the Quickie Mart, we had to pull a lot of strings because we wanted it in this first issue of Bricks Culture, but realistically, we shouldn't have had a set of it until the end of last week. So we wouldn't have been able to do it because it's been at the printers for a week and a half. So it's then about making sure you have the right conversations with the right people and see if we can get it. You know, it's quite easy to get to the end of a schedule and suddenly discover you've got 6 empty pages. What are you going to do about it? So they're the challenges you face. It's making sure that you've, as we build up, it's building up a bank of content that you can sit on. So when you're starting out a venture, you haven't got that bank of content, you haven't got anything sat there. It's literally you've got to generate it. So almost your first issue, you've almost got to generate double the amount of features because you need to, from a time perspective, as things start to accelerate, then you're looking for you need to be going into the second month knowing that you've already got perhaps 30 pages of content filled, because it doesn't matter how many contributors you've got, because almost the more contributors you've got, the harder it is, because I've then got to liaise with all of them. Mm-hmm. There's 3 of us doing it, there's only 3 of us to chat, and we can do that, but we've actually got 15 people working on it. So all 15 people have got to know what's in the mag, they've got to know what they're meant to be doing, they then need to be briefed on how that feature should be written, what it should contain, what information it should have. So I spend a lot of my time on emails, phone calls, things like that, logistics. I mean, to try and put it into context, last year, obviously I was working on magazines all last year. I had to try and find some space on my Gmail, and so I deleted all my sent items for the year of 2014. Oh. And I sent 4,500 emails last year.
Oh.
So that's not phone calls, and that's no spam because it's what I sent.
So you said you had to clear up space on your Gmail. So you, like, what is it, 5-10 gigabytes or something? You had to clear up space.
I've got 25 gig on my Gmail.
Oh my goodness. Well, I don't come close to those numbers, so good on you for that.
That's taking it to another level there with your email.
You've either got to go large or go home.
Yeah. That is absurd. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. But I can imagine that being true when you're talking about, like you said, with 15 people, you know, all working out. You've obviously got to be communicating with all of these people a lot to make sure you get everything worked out. That's obviously going to require a lot of emailing or phone calls or whatever you find works best for your communication.
Absolutely. If I'm not sat here emailing, I'm in the car, and if I'm on the car, I'm on the hands-free talking to someone on the phone. You can guarantee it. You know, it's absolutely non-stop. But that's the way it has to be. I mean, and probably then another challenge that presents itself, I'm so busy doing that, is I don't get to look at the social channels quite as much as I should. So I often get people emailing me going, oh, have you seen what's going on here? Do you want that? Or should you be responding to that? And it's like, I haven't even had a chance to look at that because there's so many. And that's almost one of my issues with the LEGO community. There's so many different channels, so many different forums. It's like, it's so easy to miss something. And I think probably my ultimate goal is to become, for Bricks and Bricks culture, to become a central hub where people feed all their content into it. You know, so you've still got all these channels around it, but it becomes a sort of a one-stop shop where people can come there and go, well, how do I find out about this? And we go, oh, you go up that way, almost like a tourist guide for Lego, if you like. So if someone comes to us and says, oh, how do I find out about Beyond the Brick? We say, okay, well, you contact this guy and become that central point. So that's the thought, making life easier to navigate through the Lego world, I suppose.
This is actually something I've been curious about. So the physical magazine is obviously the core of the effort here, but have you thought more about online strategy for what you're doing? Do you envision some kind of an elaborate website? Is that in the roadmap, as it were, or am I getting ahead of myself?
We've got a full digital plan. Tim Johnson's actually been working with us very closely on the digital community strategy and how that will work and how we're going to feed information to people. That you will see that starting to ramp up in the next week or two. Keep your eyes out. We've got a viral video going out next week. You will see at least 1, if not 2, a week from us. We've got a guy who's literally, I keep building little movie sets for him, and at the moment he's got 11 scripts from me to shoot. So lots of fun little videos that are involving all sorts of little things.
And these are like stop motion animations?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're using different people. We're using some very well known names. and we've got a young guy who's very fresh to the scene, but incredibly good at what he does, and he's got a wicked sense of humour, which that always appeals to me. So yeah, from a digital point of view, probably one of the most exciting things we've got is we've got in all our magazines we've got Blipper. I don't know if you're familiar with Blipper.
The name does sound familiar, but
it's basically a free app for your phone or your tablet. It's augmented reality. So you blip a page that's got the icon on it, and things will come out. You will get extra content. You'll get opportunities to go to different places. So the print takes you into the world of digital.
Like a QR code gone crazy?
Yeah, sort of like a QR code. Is it somewhat along those lines?
Well, a QR code will take you to a website or to a video or something like that. This will literally, I mean, for example, one of the pages we've got, one of the companies here that make custom minifigures, they've done the 5 political party leaders because it's election time coming up. So we've done a vote for it. So we've got a page with them on and a bit of fun taking the mickey out of these Lego characters. But if you blip that page, the characters jump out of the screen and they appear 3D on your phone. And then literally one comes in and kicks the other one off the screen. And then you get a choice to come up and you can then vote for one of them. You can pick to vote. You can actually buy the minifigure, or you can find out more about the minifigures. So there's a little bit of fun. You get a bit of a fun video. Other ways is, some of the you'll get to see some of the images that we didn't get a chance to put in the magazine. So a little bit of extra content, little videos, things like that. So that's sort of how it works. But I mean, it's been around for a while, but it's starting to get perfection now. And all these blippers are built by us, so they're unique to us. But yeah, it's a little bit of 3D content, and you can actually move your phone away from the page, and the minifigures are still fighting on your phone. You don't need to be awesome once you've scanned it.
Oh, yeah, man. That is very cool. Okay, so yeah, it's better than a QR code, which just takes you to a website. You can actually kind of get that cool content right on your phone that way. That's really interesting. Yeah. And so this will be something that will appear in pretty much every issue then?
Yeah, no, we've got I think we've got about 3 or 4 blips in the first couple of issues, but the second issue of Bricks you'll find a lot more because we need time to create them. And obviously time was tight on this one, so that was one of the logistical things. We had to say, right, well, we'll do a bit of it, but we can't do a lot of it. But the next issue now, we've already got some fun stuff planned, which will give you guys extra content and some things to muck around with, and it gives you a chance to interact with us as well. You'll be able to give us opinions on a page, because you'll just literally, the page will come to life on your phone, you'll be able to press an element of that screen, and it'll take you through to our site where you can discuss it.
That is really crazy.
So yeah, that's really cool. So you're really trying to merge, you've got the magazine kind of physical thing there, but you're definitely still using the technology aspects with the phones, and then as you were saying, you're trying to do more with videos and get the website going and things. So you're not solely relying on just the magazines.
No. It's all about interaction and being able to communicate with us. As I've said, we're trying to provide a doorway here, a portal for everything, where people can actually communicate with us and let us know what they're thinking or show us their work. We're in partnership with a couple of companies at the moment, one of them being DK Books. We're doing a project with them. We've sent out a load of white Boba Fett's to various photographers across the world and challenged them to create 2 images each, doing whatever they like with Boba Fett. So we're doing lots of little fun things like that as well, and we're partnering up with some certified professional builders, and we're going to start. We're looking at starting an organisation to almost. I don't want to call it the X Factor because it's not that, but it's almost finding some mock builders that are very, very talented and helping them get their art noticed.
So sort of bringing them into the public eye more.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
We have the facility to run exhibitions, art exhibitions with Lego. We've got venues across London and Manchester that we can use. So that we're gonna find aspiring builders, budding builders, and showcase their work for them, and put them in front of audiences that perhaps would never have seen them before.
Very cool.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds like it should work out pretty well then. Help expose people's because obviously there is I mean so many people around the world building with Lego. There's a lot of content out there, and it can be hard to always get a lot of exposure on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can go on Flickr, you type in the word Lego, and you'll get millions of images of Lego. He doesn't pull anyone to the forefront. He doesn't tell anyone what's going on. You'll see a nice model, but you think, oh, I don't know who that is, because his name might be Dave Smith, but his Flickr name will be Captain Buzzeye or something. And it's about getting these people in front of an audience. It's
so is this like almost like blogging? This is like the physical manifestation of like being blogged on the Brothers Brick or like a Lego blog or something like sort of.
It probably is. Yeah, it's not a million miles away from that.
No. That is an interesting concept. Yeah, I think, I mean, as Lego rises in popularity, there's definitely a new market, right, opening up for something like that to be successful.
Well, I mean, for example, I got contacted 4 weeks ago by a well-known supermarket in the UK, and they asked me could I make them a teapot, a teacup, a Victoria sponge cake, and a saucer out of Lego, cover of their in-house magazine, and they were willing to pay for it. Now, I've actually given that job to an artist I know and said, here you go, you do that. But that's what I'm saying. There's this world out there. There's companies, big blue chip companies, wanting to use Lego as a medium or to express or to create something special. And it's
what was that survey that came out where they said that Lego has the most powerful brand in the world or something?
Yeah, it's the most influential brand. It's just overtaken Ferrari.
Yeah, so every other brand or company, I would assume, I mean, would just kind of want to tie themselves into that somehow, like get a little bit of that magic for themselves, right?
Exactly. One of my business partners is they have a working relationship through his other business with the guy that runs the Abu Dhabi racetrack, and somehow they got the conversation onto Lego, and this guy just turns around and says, I want my racetrack made out of Lego. How much will that cost me? And they phoned me, genuinely phoned me, and said, how much will that cost me? And I went, well, how big do you want it? He said, well, how big can I have it? I went, and it was just one of those conversations. We actually went around in circles. We never really actually answered the question. But there's all those people out there that want, we took one of our clients to the Art of the Brick exhibition, and it was so funny. He had nothing to do with Lego, but he walked around there and said, which one can I buy? He wanted to buy one of Nathan's pieces, and it's just like, no, it's an exhibition. You can't just come in with your wallet and buy things. But there is that world out there. These guys want to do stuff with it. I mean, I know of a project that's going on in a couple of months' time with Goldman Sachs, the famous bankers, and they're actually doing a charity day with Lego.
Yeah, wow. So there are a lot of branching out there.
Yeah. Yeah, the world has adopted Lego. We've just got to let them know that we're the guys that have got the Lego.
Of course. Right for exploitation, I believe, right?
I don't like the word exploitation.
No, I mean something else.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is very cool. So for people who are interested in checking this out, obviously you're going to have the reveal coming up very soon here in the next few days. What will the release schedule be like after that then for the magazines?
Well, we were going to do everything staggered, but obviously because of Channel 4 we've had to bring out Bricks Culture with Bricks. Bricks Culture will be quarterly and will remain quarterly. So you'll have to wait another 3 months before you see one of those pop up again. Bricks will eventually be monthly, but listening to feedback, we've decided to give people the opportunity to sample both titles. We're not trying to say to people, look, give us all your money, buy both. So Bricks is going to start off as bi-monthly, but by August we'll go monthly.
Okay, so you got that all planned out there then, so people can plan on how that's all going to work. And I don't know, do you know off the top of your head, for people who are interested, what is the price going to be for like a year subscription or 6 months? How does that work?
Yeah, you can find all that information if you go to our website, which is republic66media.com. Sorry, that information is all on there. A UK subscription is, I think, if off the top of my head, is £54.89. I think it is. and that includes postage delivered to your door, straight to your door, done.
Okay.
So it depends on where you are in the world. We've just introduced, you can have a 3-month and a 6-month subscription, so you don't have to buy into a whole year. So we're trying to give people the opportunity to sample. We don't want people to feel, obviously in a collector's market, people want to have everything. So we're very, very conscious of that. We don't want to come across like we're trying to fleece people for money. So we're trying to give as many purchasing options as we can.
Mm-hmm. So you can let people start out slow there, so they don't have to do like a whole year right off the bat if they get in a couple months.
That's it. They can buy 1 issue. They can subscribe to 2. It doesn't matter. They can choose how they want to interact with us, and what we really want is feedback from them when they actually physically have a copy or they've seen it digitally. We want their feedback as to, are we going in the right direction? Is this what they want to see? Does this give them something more than what they can find online?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, sounds very good. So you mentioned the website there. I'll make sure to put a link to that website in the description if people want to check that out. Beyond the website, is there other places, social media or places that is a good place for people to keep up to date with what's going on with the magazines?
Yeah, we've got, on Monday we'll be launching all our social channels. You can follow me on Twitter. I think I'm down as Mark Brick's Guest. So you can follow me. I generally do a few weird things, but that's fine. Not always just Lego. But we've got Bricks Social and Bricks Culture Social on Facebook, so you can like us on there, and once we get into full swing, you'll be able to keep up to date with all our shenanigans and what we're doing and what we're up to.
Very cool. Well, that sounds really good. So we'll definitely be looking forward to seeing the over the next few days here as the magazines are released, and then you can all have links to all the social media and website you mentioned there in the description, so people can keep up to date that way if they want to, and make sure to check out the magazine when it's first released, and look forward to some really cool, hopefully new quality Lego content here coming into the magazines in the near future.
Absolutely, hopefully, and yeah. That's it. We'll do our best to make it as entertaining as we can.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds good. Well, I really appreciate you joining us on the show tonight, Mark. It was great talking with you and hearing about the magazines, learning a little bit more about how they're going to work. And yeah, we'll definitely be looking forward to checking them out in the future.
Fantastic. No, thank you guys. And if you ever want an update, just give us a call.
Sounds good. So before we leave you tonight, I wanted to remind you about the Brick Builders Club over at brickbuildersclub.com. You can check that out to start receiving your monthly box of really cool Lego content like custom pieces, stickers, and even Lego shirts. So that's brickbuildersclub.com, and I'll have a link to them in the description as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you soon.